Hello, boys and girls. Greg from the Scary Spirits podcast here to make you another cocktail. This week's cocktail is the Loneliness Cocktail. And as always, is the featured cocktail in today's episode. I'm going to start with our shaker with ice. To that, we're going to add 1.5 ounces vodka. I'm using vanilla vodka because it comes later. You'll see. Next, bitters. I'm going to add a dash of bitters. Next, lemon juice. 3/4 of an ounce. Three-quarters of an ounce. Next, vanilla syrup. I don't have any vanilla syrup, but I do have simple syrup. So hence why I used vanilla vodka. 3/4 ounce syrup. Finally, egg white. 1/3 an ounce egg white. There you go, boys and girls. Then we shake. We're going to take our rocks glass and strain it in there. There you have it, the Loneliness Cocktail. Pretty good. Maybe a little too much lemon for me, but yeah, it's pretty good. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the podcast. See ya.
I want to start off by saying that this week's episode of the Scary Spirits podcast, Let the Right One In, has some excellent acting by the two main child actors. Stellar, really. A film can be ruined by bad acting, and it seems risky to put children in such a complicated, moody story, but they totally pull it off. You could say they kill it. Can you tell I'm impressed? Makes me think back and wonder what I was accomplishing when I was 10 or 12 years old. Hopefully I'd moved past eating paste to something much more intellectually challenging. At least I hope so. Cheers!
Welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go.
Hi, boys and girls. I'm Greg.
Hello, I'm Karen.
And welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. A podcast that combines the two very different yet highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. How are you, Karen?
I'm doing well. How are you, Greg?
Good. Thank you for asking.
What we do.
I believe this week's film was your choice, was it not?
It was.
And what film have you chosen for us this week, Karen?
I chose Let the Right One In from 2008.
Oh, so you've chosen an artsy vampire film?
I know, shocking, isn't it?
Any reason why you chose this film, Karen?
It's an artsy vampire film.
Okay.
I just wanted to see it, and it's all about me, so.
It is all about you, Karen.
Exactly.
At least on the odd weeks.
I'll take it.
Do we have a cocktail to go along with this film, Karen?
We do.
And what would that be?
Well, I was misled a little bit by a summary that I read about this film, but it's okay. The cocktail
it's fine. I think it's fine. Go on.
Yeah, but a different plot summary I read before the one that I have gave me a different feel. So the cocktail is loneliness. It's still okay, but it's not the hit that I thought it would be.
Well, in hindsight, what cocktail would you have chosen, Karen?
I don't know. Something cold and snowy.
Something frozen. Yeah.
Yes.
Something like a Jack Frost or
something, snowy. But this is okay. It fits well enough.
It does. I think it's fine. How would one make loneliness other than the obvious way?
You're going to need 1.5 parts of vodka. This is from the Absolut website. So they say Absolut Vodka, but whatever vodka you want. 1 dash of orange bitters, 3/4 part lemon juice, 3/4 part vanilla syrup, and 1/3 part egg white. Fill a shaker with ice cubes, add all the ingredients, shake and strain into a rocks glass.
Thank you, Karen.
For that stimulating reading of how to make loneliness.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little lonely myself, Karen. After having a few sips of this cocktail, I can see why it's called loneliness.
It's a good one to drink alone. Did you make the vanilla syrup?
I did not.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
I used vanilla vodka and simple syrup.
I was thinking that would work too.
Yeah, we talked about it last week. Yeah.
So that'll work.
That's what I did. Well, I didn't quite have 1.5 ounces of vanilla vodka, but I had about an ounce or 3/4 of an ounce of vanilla vodka. So I filled the rest with just regular plain old vodka. I'm sure it tastes.
It's close.
Close enough.
Not to go into it now because we talk about later, but it's refreshing, I think.
It's a lanai drink, I would say.
Yeah. It's after some thirsty work in the yard. It's very refreshing. It's almost like Sprite or something, but it
could use some Sprite, actually.
It could, yeah. But it has that citrusy tang to it that makes it tasty.
It does. She would give our friends and listeners time to make their own loneliness, Karen.
Sounds so ominous. Yes, let's.
Hold on. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
Karen, might you have a brief synopsis for us? Is this better synopsis or the one that misled you?
This is a better one.
Okay, let's see.
I think.
Go on. Tell us all the story about loneliness.
When Oscar, a sensitive, bullied 12-year-old boy living with his mother in suburban Sweden, meets his new neighbor, the mysterious and moody Ellie, they strike up a friendship, initially reserved with each other. Oscar and Ellie slowly form a close bond, but it soon becomes apparent that she is no ordinary young girl. Eventually, Ellie shares her dark, macabre secret with Oscar, revealing her connection to a string of bloody local murders.
We are a match, Karen.
So the other summary that I saw was similar, but it said he was a lonely, bullied boy who isn't wanted by his mother or his father and meets Ellie and goes from there. But I didn't get that sense so much from the film. And he is alone a lot, but he doesn't.
He's lonely.
Yeah.
But he's not. It's not that he's not wanted by his mother and father.
Right.
He might. We'll get into it, but his parents are divorced, so he might. He kind of has those. Probably has those feelings or whatever. But I'm not sure he does because he seems being with that is his happy place.
Well, and his mom, when they're brushing they seem to have a reasonable relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
agree.
get that sense. So I don't know. This is a little bit better.
I agree. All right, Karen, tell us everything you really enjoyed about this film from 2008. Do you remember 2008, Karen?
I'm sure I do.
Are you?
But I can't tell you any highlights.
Okay.
I really liked this movie, pretty much all of it. I think what really stands out are the two kids. They're amazing, especially her. You get the sense she's an old soul, even though she's 12. She somehow presents herself that way. I think she changes from very innocent 12-year-old. She acts like a 12-year-old, which must be hard if you're not anymore. But when she goes into her alter ego, I think she does it very well. I think you see the change and you feel it, and it's very dramatic and very vampire-like. I think the whole movie is tense, and I liked it. I kind of felt like I never knew what was going to happen next. I mean, it's not unbelievable the things that happen, and you're thinking maybe they would happen, but it could go in different directions. And so I was never quite sure. I was really involved in it from the start. I thought it was beautifully filmed. There's some really nice shots, but overall, it has a very cold, but somehow not feeling like when the kids are together, it feels different than when they're showing the scenery and stuff. There's a dichotomy there that I like. I think, the story's good. I liked everything about it. Is there anything you liked?
I pretty much agree with you there. I really liked it. The story's good. There's some really good shots in it. Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything.
I mean, the cast that
Actors
really
are good, but
carries the film are kids. And
Yeah.
even the bully kids and all the kids are good.
yeah, I guess
Yeah, I didn't like those bullies.
they're not realistic.
Well, they're a little over the top.
So but we'll get to that later. Do you know this it wasn't her voice, the actress, the little girl, her voice isn't in this film.
Really?
Yeah, I was reading about it actually when we just started there, and the director says that her voice was a little too high pitched, and he wanted a more masculine sounding voice because she's supposed to be kind of androgynous, right? I guess because she says she's not a little girl, a few times throughout the thing.
Oh, I didn't think she was androgynous at all.
Yeah, but I don't know. She kind of.
I mean, I thought when she said, I'm not a little girl, I thought she just meant she was an older vampire, that she's not, she's been 12, as she says, for a long time. So
Yeah.
that's what I thought she meant. I mean, she's not a girly girl where she's
No,
in
she's
dresses and princess stuff, but
that's what the director said. It was more, and he saw it as more an androgynous.
I didn't even
role,
notice.
so.
Did you notice that it wasn't her voice?
I didn't notice, but I saw, looking into this film earlier, I saw that there's 3 characters listed as Ellie.
Mm.
The actress you see on screen, the actress who does the voice, and the actress who plays her when she turns a little older, because she does here and there, like a couple times, I think. There's
It could be that I
version
didn't
of her.
notice it because it is subtitled. So you are, even though you don't really notice that you're reading it after it goes for a while, I think it's easier. But I think sometimes you're not really watching their mouths or anything because you're reading what they say. There's not a ton of dialogue in it.
There's not, thank God, for anyone. There's already enough words to read, Karen. So I was thinking after, I'm like, oh my God, thank God. I can only imagine what some American films are like subtitled. Oh my God, they're so wordy, probably.
But that also plays into the emotional intensity of it, I think. There's a lot of facial,
silence, a lot of, yeah.
Face acting and just movements. And it's probably harder to do that as a 12-year-old. I don't know how old the kids are. Maybe they're a little older, but they look the parts.
They do. Yeah, I was reading about her. Okay, she is 28 now. She was born in 95. So in 2008, she would have been 12, right? Or 13.
Big, beautiful eyes. Oh my goodness. I don't know if she had contacts in or not, but very big eyes.
She she's a good looking young lady, 28 too. All right. Anything else you really liked?
No, pretty much liked it all.
Yeah, I liked it as well, but I have a feeling you liked it more than I did.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Anything you did not like, Karen?
There seems like a minor. There seems to be some extra characters and stuff that didn't really need to be in there to me. Most of the special effects I thought were good. I didn't notice them until they got to the cats and they started doing a little bit
Oh
of
my God. That was
special
crazy.
effects with the cats. That was a little almost out of place.
It was good though.
Well, they're like, I don't know.
Well, you're
I
a
am
cat
well
lady.
protected
You're
from
a crazy cat lady.
I am well protected from vampires. I will say that.
Boys and girls, I have to tell you, if you hear a don't, don't, or anything like that, that's a cat rubbing
Yes,
up
it
against
is.
Karen's microphone, just so you know.
Yes. Some of the bullying stuff, as we alluded to, was a little over the top. I mean, those are psychopath type things going on, especially towards the end. But the original bullying was pretty realistic and heartbreaking. I don't know how they do seem to be, as a parent, watching it as a parent, the bullying is hard because, they don't even know anything about it. And he especially was left alone a fair amount for a 12-year-old. I mean, we were left alone when we were 12.
Oh, hell yeah, I was.
But
Karen.
that's not a parenting style so much anymore. I mean, we were
I was a latchkey kid.
yeah, so
I got home. Let's go ahead and take care of myself, Karen.
but he was definitely a latchkey kid. That's he was
Yes.
alone a fair amount. It's not a criticism. It's just I recognize that when I was a kid, but that doesn't happen so much anymore, or it's frowned upon. Let's just say that.
Whatever.
What didn't you like?
I've already said it, Karen, but there's lots of words to read.
Well, it's subtitled.
I know. It's a slow burn. It's a long movie, and that's a slow burn.
But you didn't think it was intense the whole time?
It was. I still checked the time like
Did
3
you?
times.
No, I didn't.
And I was kind of surprised that it had as much time left as there was, because I was kind of into it, and I'm like, oh, this is flying by. Then I look at the time. Oh, fuck, I got over an hour left.
It did seem, I can't remember when, it was about 35 or so minutes. I thought it was over. Something happens and you think it's done. And then I did check the time, and there was a lot of time left. And I thought, that's weird. I wonder what's going to happen now. I can't remember what it was precisely. Maybe I put it in my notes, but I do remember thinking, oh, it's over already. And it wasn't.
The bullies are unbelievable. That's just
Not in the beginning, at the end,
at the end, yeah.
but the beginning, they're pretty.
Yeah, but I mean, there's no context there. So are they just dicks? Or is Oscar didn't seem weird? He's a good-looking kid. He's probably very popular with all the little girls.
We didn't say. Yeah, that's true. There is no. You don't know why they're picking on him, where that stems from. Seems like it's been a long time, though.
It does. Well, that's what I'm curious. I mean, does it? I mean, we learned his parents are divorced, right? He's living in this apartment with his mom. Maybe they weren't in an apartment when his mom and dad were together. Maybe he lived somewhere completely different. Maybe when they split up, he's in a new school or something.
But he is alone. He does everything by himself. He does seem to have no friends.
Well, he's an only child, Karen.
No, but when they're skating, when
That's
they go
what
on
we
the
do.
field, when they're on the field trip, he's skating off by himself. When he's doing the workout after school, he's by himself. He's always by himself. He's playing in the courtyard. There seem to be no other kids there.
No, which kind of leads me even more to think that he's like new at this school or something.
Maybe.
Because he's a good looking little kid. I can't believe all the little girls weren't like falling over themselves with his beautiful
Well,
blonde
they're
hair.
only 12.
Yeah.
Uh,
You don't remember 12, Karen? It was too long ago. You don't
I
remember
told you
how
I
you
was a
felt
late
when you were
bloomer.
12?
12 was not
Okay.
too early. I was still digging dirt and hiking in the woods at 12.
Well, that's good. I was too. Just might have been smoking Marlboros though.
Oh, you did it. Yeah.
And you said talking about the bullies that they are like psycho. There's some psychopathic shit going on. There's what did you say?
Psychopaths. Yeah.
Yeah. I would argue that Oscar's a little psychopath himself.
He's a little odd in that way. So maybe they can sense that about him. But I don't know if that
Like
comes from desperation.
he's like the dude you'll see 20 years from now and find out he killed a bunch of people and they're like, oh, he was so quiet.
Yes. But that's what I
Find
mean.
all
I
the
don't
bodies
know
in his basement.
if he is just exceedingly shy and introverted or if he is a bit,
He's collecting newspaper clippings. I think it's
yeah,
about serial killers and shit. I
about
can't read it
murders and
because
stuff.
it's
Yeah.
Swedish or whatever that language is,
He's
Norwegian.
definitely
I don't
got an
Like he's-
obsession.
Yeah,
He's like
studying.
a sociopath or
He's
something. He
studying to
doesn't,
take care of his bullies is what he's doing.
maybe. Yeah, he's a little off.
He's got that knife with him all the time.
Well, that could be because they bully him all the time, too. Should have had it at the
Why
end.
don't he use it?
Because he hasn't crossed the line yet.
All right. Anything else didn't like?
I don't think so.
But I did tell you, I think last week that there is an English speaking version of this called Let Me In. Hammer did it when they kind of revived Hammer films. It was I think it was one of the first ones they did after they came back onto the scene. If only I had a spreadsheet that lists all the Hammer films, I could tell you exactly when. But I really want to see it now. I want to see it anyway, but I really want to see it now.
You want to see it where you don't have to read.
I just want to see how different it is and if it's better. I doubt it is, but you never know. So Let Me In came out in 2010.
That's not very long after.
Nope. And Hammer, their first horror film, like from 1976 to 2008, there were no Hammer films.
Wow.
So they came back on the scene around 2008, and they did this one in 2010. And actually, the one in 2008 is more of like a TV thing, made for TV thing. So I really want to see it. And we will. I just need to find some place to work in. I would love to do it next week, Karen, but alas, we've already got a film scheduled. It's already in the newsletter and everything.
Wow. Yeah, we wouldn't want an uproar, a revolt.
All right. Would you like to hear a review from the Time, Karen?
I would love to. What do you got in Critics Corner?
First, I have to tell you, this has a 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb, a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
What do you think Google users think?
7.3,
7.8,
7.8,
and 98.
88.
87, Karen.
Oh, dang it.
I could see. I knew where you were going. I knew it.
So it's well received.
It is. It was a international success when it came out.
Is it a Roger Ebert?
It is, Karen.
Yes.
11/11/08. And I'm going to read the whole thing because I was reading it.
That sounds later. Didn't it come out? I thought I read it came out like Easter time or something. Maybe
came
not.
Came out in October.
Oh, maybe the other one
in
did.
Sweden.
Oh, okay. Maybe I don't know. I try not to look at things, but when I was looking for what kind of drink to come up with, because I had no idea what it was really about, I saw a couple things, but maybe I saw a review of the other one.
So I started to read through this review, and I got through like the third paragraph, and I'm like, I'm just going to read the whole thing because I cannot cut anything out.
Wow.
Because it is
Sit back and
good.
enjoy.
Roger Ebert. I look at young people who affect the goth look. I assume they want to keep a distance and make a statement. The leather can be taken off the tattoos not so easily. It is relatively painless to pierce many body areas, not all.
Okay, Roger.
But what would it feel like to be pierced by a vampire's fangs? That would be more than a look, wouldn't it? And you wouldn't want to advertise yourself as a vampire. Let the Right One In is a vampire movie, he has in quotes, but not even remotely what we mean by that term. It is deadly grim. It takes vampires as seriously as the versions of Nosferatu by Murnau and Herzog do. And that is very serious indeed. It is also a painful portrayal of an urgent relationship between two 12-year-olds on the brink of adolescence. It is not intended for 12-year-olds. 12-year-olds. It opens with the reflection of Oscar looking soberly out a window. He may remind you of the boy in Bergman's The Silence, looking out of the train window. They will both have much to be sober about. There will be many reflections in the film, not all from mirrors, but this is not one of those vampire stories that drags out the crosses and the garlic. Oscar is lonely. His parents have separated. Neither one wants him. See, he even says it.
Yeah.
He is alone a lot. He hangs around outside in the snowy Swedish night. One night, he meets a kid named Ellie, who was about his age. Ellie is lonely too, and they become friends. Oscar is at that age when he accepts astonishing facts calmly because life has given up trying to surprise him. Ellie walks through the snow without shoes. Ellie has a faint scent, almost of a corpse. Are you a vampire? He asks Ellie. Yes. Oh, they decide to have a sleepover in his bed. Sex is not yet constantly on Oscar's mind, but he asks, will you be my girlfriend? She touches him lightly. Oscar, I'm not a girl. Oh. Oscar is cruelly bullied at school by a sadistic bully who travels with a posse of two smaller thugs and almost drowns him in a swimming pool. At a time like this, it is useful to have a vampire as your best pal. A girl vampire or a boy vampire, it really doesn't matter. I have not even started to describe this film, directed by Thomas Alfredson and written by John Ad Lindquist, based on his novel. I will not go into the relationship Ellie has with an unsavory middle-aged man named Haken. Maybe he is his familiar, maybe he just likes blood. Nor will I talk about the iron rod and the knife, or Oscar's horrible parents. I've already made it sound grim enough, and the fact is there are some funny moments. Vampire funny, you know. Are you really my age? Oscar asked Ellie. Yes, but I've been this age for a very long time. Remove the vampire elements, and this is a story of two lonely and desperate kids capable of performing dark deeds without apparent emotion. Kids washed up on the shores of despair. The young actors are powerful and draining roles. We care for them more than they care for themselves. Alfredson's palette is so drained of warm colors that even fresh blood is black. We learn that a vampire must be invited into a room before it can enter. Now the title makes sense. Footnote. Jeremy Knox of Film Threat likes the film as much as I do, but comes from a different place. He writes, I'd even go as far as to say this would make a great date film. Woman will melt watching this. Not only that, but it'd also make a fine film to show to the 10 to 16-year-old crowd. Little kids, especially girls, will love this. Yeah, there's some blood and one really quick shot of nudity, but just because they're young doesn't mean they're stupid. Kids will totally get this. They'll get it, all right. In the neck, writes Roger. And I don't agree with him on a few things.
What?
I don't. And we'll get to it when we go through the film, I think. I don't really see it the same way he does, some of the film. What kind of cocktail rating you want to give this film, Karen?
I'd give it a 2, but
I was writing 2 as you were speaking.
I liked it. Maybe, I mean, it is an artsy vampire film, which sort of makes it different than other, more, like he said, more in your face kind of vampire films. It's more subtle.
But it's good. I agree. I would probably give it a 2.
It's just so
Maybe
intense.
a
That's
two
what
and a
I
half, but
after I started after I finished watching it, that was intense.
all right. Are you ready to get into it scene by scene, Karen?
Yep,
Let the Right One In from 2008. Did you watch this on Amazon Prime, Karen?
I did.
We have warnings, violence, alcohol use, smoking, foul language, and sexual content. Not near enough. Rated R. We have credits, and I wrote lots of foreign words and silence. And apparently it's snowing, Karen. Just a black screen with snow and credits, foreign credits. And we see the reflection of a boy in a window. And so Roger mentioned reflection a few times there, and it made me think we never saw if she has a reflection or not, did we? She was
We
never,
did not know.
or did we? I mean, at one point they were on opposite sides of a glass or door with a glass. I don't remember if she had a reflection in the
I
glass
don't
on her
remember
side or
either
not.
and she's outside the window a couple times too, and I don't know if I saw a reflection or not. But I will say he's a 12-year-old boy, give or take a year or two, right? That's some brave filming right there. Starting off the film. I mean, he's in his skivvies,
Mm-hmm.
he's in his
Tiny
white,
whiteys.
his tidy whiteys. I just thought that's a brave way to start a film for a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's by himself, of course, but it's snowing and cold. And I thought they must keep their house really warm.
Well, they live on like the third floor of an apartment building, so heat rises, Karen.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. But he's in his tidy whiteys looking out the window.
And then we see him outside, right? With a knife. Or is he
Well,
inside
the
with a
taxi
knife?
comes.
Yeah, a car arrives with a man and a girl. Yeah. Well, he's with his knife and he's saying squeal like a pig. He says
Oh,
that.
yes, in his room. Yeah.
Yeah. Then a car arrives. I guess it's a taxi. Shit, I don't know. It looks like a
Yeah.
car.
It has a
Car.
sign on the
It does have
tops.
a does have an ad on the top.
Yeah.
Car arrives with a man and a little girl. And then we see they go into the apartment building, and then we cut to the man putting cardboard over the windows. Apparently they're moving into the apartment complex. Question mark, I wrote.
Yeah. And he's an older gentleman and she is 12, as we've said. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
little odd.
Is it?
I mean, I could have been that old with my 12-year-old, I guess. I don't know. He seemed a little older, but I like to think everyone looks older than me.
Well, I might have a note about it later, but we'll see. If we don't, I will be sure to bring it up what I think is going on there. Then we see officer talking to a class of students. I guess it's next day. I don't know. Then we see the boy being bullied. Then the man who according to Roger Ebert, is hacking. He puts a funnel and a gas mask in like a briefcase thing.
He's missing part of a finger, right? Part of his pinky
I
finger.
didn't
Did you see
notice.
that?
Did
Yeah,
not notice.
it's weird.
Then we see him in a park, I guess, and he asks another man if he has the time. The man says he does not have a watch. Hacken gas masks him and ties him up and pulls him up a tree, Karen. He's going to gut him like a pig, I think. Got the funnel underneath him with the bucket bottle. Takes a knife and slits his throat.
It's pretty
Begins
gross.
collecting his blood.
Yeah.
But it's mostly off screen. You don't see it because
It
he
is.
blocks
It
the view.
drips and you hear it.
You hear
hear
it,
it.
but you don't see it.
But when he's doing it, I'm like, there's cars off in the background. Like he's not in the middle. I know
No.
he's supposed to be in the woods, but he's not.
Looks like he's in a park.
I know. Not
Yeah. Then
like
a dog,
this is ballsy
a dog comes running up to him.
barking.
Yeah. And of course, the dog is followed by the people who are walking the dog.
Yeah, they're calling for the dog.
So he packs up his things and leaves, and then two girls who are walking the dog find the body of the man hanging there, bleeding out.
The dog
Hanging.
does go after the blood.
Yeah, hanging from a tree, bleeding out. Cut to Oscar talking to a tree with a knife. He's imagining he is stabbing his bullies, Karen.
He's repeating what they said to him about squeal like a pig.
Mm-hmm. Then there's all of a sudden there's a girl behind him.
I said, she doesn't have a coat on.
Nope. And girl says she lives next to him. I find it very odd that one of the first things she says is, "We cannot be friends." So, we can't be friends. And the boy
And he
says,
says,
are you
what are
sure I
you?
want to be your friend?
Maybe I don't
want
want
to
to be your
your
friend. Didn't want to be your friend anyway.
True. So then Haken, man, comes home with no blood.
Yeah,
Girl's
he
not very
realizes
happy.
on the train that he forgot it. He's like shocked that it's not in there. It's like, oh, I forgot the blood. Forgot the blood in the park.
Next day at school, they talk about the boy who died. They call him a boy.
Well, she's pretty pissed when he
Oh,
comes
yeah.
back and he doesn't have the
She is
blood.
pissed.
She's like, you're supposed to help me.
When
Do I
am I
really
supposed
have
to
to
take
do
care of
this?
myself?
Yeah. Do I have to do this myself? So she's not happy with him.
And teacher tells the kids that counselors are available to those that need to talk to someone. And we cut to Oscar at home, the little blonde-haired boy, and he's collecting newspaper clippings about killings, I assume.
That's what it looks like.
He
He's got like a
cut,
scrapbook kind of thing.
definitely cuts out the clipping about the boy who was killed in the park. And he has a whole scrapbook full of newspaper clippings, but they're all in foreign language, so I can't read the headlines. But
Yeah, see,
I'll bet they're all serial killers
I had
or
a
murders.
scrapbook, but it was all about Sean Cassidy. He has a scrapbook that's all about killings. What was your scrapbook, Greg?
Kiss.
There you go.
It's all about Kiss when I was 12 years old, Karen.
Yes.
And then we learned that his parents are divorced because I guess mom's talking on the phone and she says something about like Oscar will be with his dad next week. So we know they're, divorced and he goes and stays with one, whatever.
But he still goes to school, even though when he was with his dad, it looked more remote. So, but he still gets, I guess he gets on the train. That's the nice thing about, having the train system. He still can get to school.
So then we see men in a Chinese restaurant. I assume it's a Chinese restaurant. It's called the Palace or something, but it's got a dragon on it. And they're debating the death penalty. And they see a new guy in there eating, and it's Hacken.
They don't know him.
They don't know him, but he says, should we ask him to join us? He said, maybe we should. Maybe he'll buy us around. So another guy goes over and asks to join him. He refuses. Good day. He gets up and leaves. Then we cut to Oscar again, back in the little playground outside the apartment building, working on a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Rubik's Cube, shall we?
Sure, Karen.
Want to guess when it was invented?
I think it was pretty early. Like this is 2008. I had one long time ago, I feel like. I'm going to say 75.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it. The Rubik's Cube is a 3D combination puzzle invented in 1974.
I almost said 74.
I thought you were going to say it by Hungarian.
But I was thinking, I got mine thinking 76 or 77, so probably 75. I don't know. Whatever.
Were you any good at it?
Fuck no.
I didn't have the patience for it.
No, I could get one color, but
I could get one side, yeah.
One side, but I couldn't get it to match around on the other sides. I could get one side on one color, but all the other sides were screwed up. So
it's by Hungarian sculptor and professor
I just
of
took it
architecture.
apart, put it back together.
Guess what his name was? Emo Rubik.
Rubik. I'm
Just
sure.
peel off the stickers. Put them where you need them.
Yeah.
It was originally called the Magic Cube, but then it was sold a couple times. It was released internationally in 1980 and became one of the most recognized icons in popular culture. It won the 1980 German Game of the Year. And as of January 2024, around 500 million cubes have been sold worldwide, making it the world's best-selling puzzle game. It was inducted into U.S. National Toy Hall of Fame in 2014. Yeah, they're a thing.
Are you saying I got it in 1980?
No, well, I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe I did. I don't know.
I think we were older. I don't know.
What do you mean we, Karen?
That's right. Me. Sorry.
So then the girl comes up behind him, Ellie, and basically we learn they both want to be alone. And she asks about the Rubik's Cube. She's never seen one, apparently, and he offers it to her to try, and he shows her how to work it.
He does say, "You smell funny."
Yep, he does.
And asks her if she's cold, and she says no. She's forgotten how to be cold.
Yep. That's
so it implies she's really old.
So then we cut to two men saying goodbye.
Well, wait, so he says, "See you tomorrow," and leaves her, and you hear her stomach growling. She like
Yes.
hunches over. She's really hungry. So
Yes.
she restrained herself with him because she's starving.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he leaves, she reacts that she's hungry. I thought that was pretty cool. And this I wrote, she's got very big eyes. But yeah, now the men are coming.
There we see two men. I think we've seen them both earlier, right? Saying goodbye at the apartment complex, and Hacking is upstairs looking out the window watching.
Is he, or is that's the cat guy watching?
Oh, it is the cat guy. Yeah, it's another guy in the apartment complex.
He's holding a cat.
Yeah, holding the cat looking out the window. And
yeah, so these two I think are from the restaurant.
They are. And he's walking along, one of them's walking along, and he hears a girl yell for help.
Yeah.
The man
Help
goes over,
me.
picks up the girls, and says he will take her to a phone, and then wham, she attacks him, and he gone.
Well, she breaks his neck after
Eventually he does. She does, yeah.
Yeah.
She drains him of blood and then snaps his neck.
But the cat guy
The cat guy watches.
saw it all, or enough to know that something happened. He couldn't see her very clearly, but he knew that somebody attacked the guy.
And then we hear, I guess, Ellie and Haken arguing in the apartment next door because Oscar listens to the wall.
Yeah.
They're arguing about, I guess maybe he didn't want her to do that. I don't know. They're arguing a foreign language, so you can't even, and it's not on the subtitles.
And it's muffled.
Yeah, so
we're
you
hearing
can't
it.
tell. You don't
Yeah.
know what's going on a lot of the time, even in the background, or especially in the background, right? Even with like news reports and things like that. Some of it they do put on the screen because it's important, but they don't put it all on, right?
Greg and I are both so excited that you're listening to the Scary Spirits podcast, and we would love to hear from you. Do you have a movie suggestion for us? Or possibly a favorite drink you'd like us to try? Or maybe you just want to say hi. If so, you can email us at info@scaryspirits.com. Thank you so much for your support. Now back to the show.
So then I wrote, the man who saw the murder is a crazy cat man.
He is.
He's got cats everywhere.
Because I call him the cat man.
Yeah.
Because he goes to
he goes to the Chinese restaurant and tells the others about what happened to their friend. And then he takes them to where it happened.
And he says a kid.
He does say a kid.
Yeah. And there's nothing there. It looks like it's all kind of cleaned up until they dig a little bit.
Yeah.
They have to dig a little bit to find it, but they do. Because he said right there.
Snow.
Yeah.
So then we see Haken dragging the body and he dumps it in the lake.
When he what's his name? Hagen?
Haken? I don't know. Haken.
I called him the dude. I don't know. When he's leaving the apartment complex, there's a sled leaning up against the door, which was kind of weird because we never saw any other kids except Oscar and this little girl. But he takes the sled, goes and gets the body, pulls the body on the sled into the woods. I said, he's going to have to find a pond or something, and damned if he doesn't find a pond or a hot springs, really. So he's got him on a sled, which is smart. Then he puts him on a log and pushes him. Like, this is pretty ingenious. I think he's done this before.
Yeah, he's done this many times, I'm sure.
But he pushes him into the water.
Then we see Oscar runs out of the apartment playground and runs out into the apartment playground and finds the Rubik cube there solved. And he seems pleased. Oscar and the girl at the playground. It's cold. He is dressed
he went
warmly.
To school. He picks up because it's daytime. He takes the Rubik's cube to school. Then he comes back. It must be dark early because it's winter.
Yeah.
And it's basically after school and she's already out.
And I wrote, it's cold. He is dressed very warmly, but she is wearing short sleeves, Karen.
Yes. And he's just like, how did you do it? How did you solve it?
She says, I just turned it. Just turned it around. And then they introduce themselves, finally. Ellie and Oscar. He asks how old she is. She says 12, more or less. But Oscar knows exactly how old he is
I
to the
know.
day.
Remember when that was important?
No, not really.
12, 12 years. He says 12 years, 8 months, and 9 days. Well, we used to say, I'm 8 3/4. I'm not
Yeah.
8.5.
I never
I'm not
counted it
8.
to the day,
Oh
though.
my God. Not the day, but you'd say, because to make yourself be older than other kids, well, I'm 8. Well, I'm 8. Well, I'm 8 3/4.
Well, congratulations, Karen. You're older than me.
Yeah. Now it's not so important.
And Ellie doesn't even know her birthday. She doesn't
No.
know what her birthday is.
So she doesn't have birthday parties or anything. That's what he says. Don't your parents know? Do you never get presents?
Then she shows Oscar how she solved the Rubik's Cube. And we cut to the teacher reading a book to the class. Do you recognize what she was reading?
She said Bilbo
I know.
escaped. So is that The Hobbit or
That's the only thing I could think too.
Tolkien? Something Tolkien, I'm sure. But
Bilbo.
I
Bilbo
had no,
Baggins.
I've never read it, so I don't
I
know.
haven't either, but that's the only thing I
I
could
haven't
come
even
up with
seen
as
the
well.
movies. So
I was hoping it'd be Dracula, but it wasn't.
no, that would have been better.
And then Oscar, we see Oscar. He's learning Morse code.
Yeah. So I know we've talked about Morse code, but I do have a little bit. Morse code is a method used in telecommunication to encode text characters as standardized sequences of two different signal durations called dots and dashes. Morse code is named after Samuel Morse, one of the early developers of the system adopted for electrical telegraphy, not telegraphy, telegraphy. I don't know.
I would say maybe it's telegraphy. I don't know.
But he's teaching her, right?
Not yet. Then we see the bullies stop Oscar on his way home from school. And they ask to see, or one of them does, ask to see what he was writing down. He refuses to give it to him. They grab him and beat him, Karen. Beat him with a cane
It's a
or something.
switch or something.
I don't know. A crop, like a crop used when you're racing horses, like a.
It looked like a switch, like just a branch.
But here I wrote, two of them seem to be reluctant bullies.
Yes.
And they run away.
The first one starts whipping his legs and then is overwhelmed that he can't, because Oscar doesn't respond, which is again a little sociopathic. And then the other one gets him in the face, cuts him pretty good.
And Oscar tells his mother that he fell down during recess to explain
tripped
his
on
injuries.
a rock.
Then we cut to Oscar teaching Ellie Morse code, and she asks what happened to him. He tells her his classmates cut him. She tells him to hit back. She knows he has never hit back. She tells him to hit back even harder than they hit him, and if they persist, she will help him. Then Ellie goes to her room, and then she and Oscar begin communicating by tapping on the wall in Morse code.
Yeah, basically he says sweet dreams.
Then we're in gym class next day, I guess, and it looks like they're doing soccer drills, Karen, because that's what they do over there in a foreign country. They all play soccer.
Football, I think they call it.
Whatever, it's soccer. After class, Oscar goes to see the gym teacher, I guess, phys ed teacher, and asks to join the weightlifting class after school. And yes, if you have to sign up or something, the guy says, nope, just come. We'll make you strong like bull.
Yes.
So then cut to Oscar, and he's buying Ellie sweets.
He's at the candy store or something, and there's a cat hissing at her.
Oh, I didn't notice that one.
And he brings her some candy, but she says no.
She initially refuses, but says she will try one. And then we cut to her getting sick.
And they hug. Is that the first time he hugs
Oscar
her?
apologizes and he hugs her.
Yeah.
And she doesn't
she's
know
just
what
like,
to think.
That's like you when you get hugged. What do I do?
Karen, you know I'm a hugger. I'm a closet hugger. And Ellie asks him if she wasn't a girl, would he still like her? He says he would. And he wants to know why she asks. And then we cut to Oscar with his dad. And right here, that's where I wrote, seems to be his happy place.
Yeah, they're on like snowmobiles or something. And
yeah, his total mood changes when he's with his dad. So then we see Ellie and the man she lives with. He says there are Haken. He says there are people who know his face and know he lives there with her. he asked her not to see that boy again. And he rubs her face. She rubs his face.
Yeah. So do you think she's grooming Oscar to be the next,
Absolutely. That's
you
exactly what I
know,
think.
I mean, I think she cares for Oscar. I think they
She
like
does.
each other.
But this guy, she probably met this guy when they were both 12, when he was
Or
12
younger,
or
for
younger.
sure. And then they stayed together, and now
Yep. That's
it's time
exactly
to
what I
move
thought,
on.
because that's pretty much the next thing I have. Oh, is he like,
Because he seems upset, but he also seems
yes,
very
he's
tired.
jealous. He's jealous. He's a little jealous. Seems a
But
little jealous, but
he does.
he gets it, I think.
But he also
But
seems
he is tired.
done.
Yes.
Like he just doesn't want to do it anymore,
Yeah.
kind of thing. He's forgetting the blood in the park. He's making mistakes, and it's just
But he
seems like
wants to
he's
take care of her. He wants to, but he just,
right. I think he's just done.
yeah. So then we see him, Haken, watching basketball practice, and he traps one of the boys in the room. And after practice, he has him tied up, and he's going to gut him like a pig as well, it looks like, Aaron.
But he can't do it. I think like he's just
I do,
done.
yeah.
He's just, I can't do it anymore. Or maybe he knows now that she's befriended this young kid that he's not going to last, like it's over for him or something. I don't know. But
Could
he
be.
seemed tired when they arrived.
Yeah. And he really seems tired of this scene, because he like sits down on the bench, and he's like,
Fuck.
because then the kid, I guess, comes to, the gas wears off, and he starts yelling for help, and his buddies are outside, and they come running in, bust down the door, and he yells for help. Boy yells for help. And apparently he's got a jar of acid, which I don't know what he's going
I
to
think
do
he's
with.
mixing things together that make a gas that knocks you out. That's what it
Oh,
looks like. He's measuring different things at different times.
okay. Well, he has like a pickle jar. I don't know. Half the time I was wondering, is that a pickle? Is that a pickle juice? What's he doing? Boy yells for help. His friend busts in and take him down. Man pours the acid on his face. So Haken pours the acid on himself.
Yeah, and I thought, is he trying to make himself unrecognizable? But I don't think he only turns out, half
Maybe.
of his face. But
Yeah, he looks like Two-Face.
yes,
Then we see Oscar lifting weights.
very
It's not
small.
very small weights, Karen. Like would I? Well, I'm a big, strong man, so I use that much as a dumbbell.
Depends on how much the bar weighs. The bar can make a big
Bar's
difference.
about 10 pounds, I think.
But they make them different sizes.
Okay.
But he's doing it.
Sorry, I didn't know you were a big weightlifter, Karen. Well, I do know you. You should go to the gym, don't you? Still go to the gym, Karen?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. But he's lifting, gets done lifting, goes and he finds his pants in the urinal.
That's
And
not funny. You think that's funny?
he walks home in the snow in his shorts. Then we hear a news report of a man arrested for attempted murder. His face was disfigured so they cannot identify him. We hear that on the radio in Oscar's apartment. Then Ellie goes to the hospital looking for Haken. She says it's her father, and she's barefoot in the snow. Nurse tells her he is on the 7th floor, but it's restricted. And she walks out in her bare feet, and the nurse feels bad and goes to look for her. And then, as the nurse is going back into the building, we see Ellie climbing up the building.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Then Ellie knocks on Haken's window. He gets up and lets her feed on him.
She asks if she can come in, and he opens the window, and you see half his face is gone. And I think that's it. It's
He just
over.
nods. He just nods.
Yeah, it's done. He gives up.
And he falls out the window. He gone.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal. He smacked on a
Awning. Yeah.
or something. You heard him.
That's pretty good.
The ultimate sacrifice there.
Then we see a man and woman sleeping. All of a sudden, the man gets up. These were two at the Chinese restaurant earlier. Man wakes up suddenly and is like, a kid. Why a kid? And they start talking about their friend who was killed by the kid.
He's a little obsessed with it. His girlfriend wants to just move on, and she's tired of talking about it.
Then we see Ellie knocking on Oscar's window. She asks if she can come in. She tells him not to look at her. He tells her
Well,
she
and
can come
he
in.
said, "How did you get there?" And she said she flew. And he was like, "Yeah, right."
He tells her she can come in. And then Ellie undresses and crawls into bed with him. Oscar tells her she is cold as ice. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah, there
dun,
you go.
dun, 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 dun.
She looks bad a lot of the time. And then when she cleans up, she looks better. But she's dirty a lot.
So then as they're lying there, Oscar asks her to be his girlfriend or to go steady or whatever. And then Ellie says that she is not a girl. Oscar says, do you want to go steady or not? Ellie asks if they can just keep things the way they are. Then eventually she asks if there's anything special they need to do when they're going steady. Oscar says no, and then she says, okay, we'll go steady then. And he goes to sleep and she grabs his hand as they sleep. This is pretty emotional, I guess is the word I'm going to use. You know?
Yeah, I agree. It's intense.
Yeah, this is more than I think a 12-year-old would do.
Well, she's a lot older than 12.
Yes.
But she's also not feeding on him. She's not, like I'm sure it's hard for her to be next to someone like that. I mean, she did just eat. So
yeah, as long as she's fed, it's fine. Next morning, Oscar gets up and she is gone, but she does leave him a note. And we see it, but I don't know what it fucking says yet. Cut to school the next day. Students are going to the pond to skate. The teacher watches as the bullies confront Oscar because he finds the pole that Haken was using to push the body into the lake.
Oscar does, yeah.
Yeah, Oscar does. He's holding it. And the bullies are threatening to push Oscar into
a hole in the ice.
A hole in the ice.
Yeah. Want to go swimming?
Oscar threatens to hit him with the pole he found. And then he does, hits him right in the fucking ear, Karen. He drops and screams and cries like a little baby.
I think he busted his eardrum. So, because signs and symptoms of a ruptured eardrum. Yeah, because they talk about, so he has ear pain that subsides pretty quickly and then hearing loss, which he had later. They mention it. And I was just wondering, how much force does it take to rupture an eardrum? 14 PSI will rupture almost all eardrums. I don't know if he hit him that hard. It's not that hard to bust your eardrum.
It's not.
So I think he did because he hit him. They tell you, which I'm sure I got dinged for. And but if you hit it right where he hit him, you can break the eardrum if you hit it hard enough.
Okay. And then some other students find the body of the man under the ice.
Yeah, 2 little girls that had to pee. And the teacher's like, just go behind a tree. And they're in these big snowsuits and stuff. Like, that's a operation to go pee when you're wearing one of those things. But they go over off
and
by
a girl
themselves.
Especially, I'm sure.
Yes. So they went off to pee. There were 2 of them. They had the buddy system.
I would just write my name in the snow.
And they see the body in the ice frozen.
So then they cut the body out and they're hauling him away on a crane. Karen and I laughed. I thought that was funny.
Almost looked like Frankenstein stuck in the ice,
Yes, because he was half in and half out, right? He was floating on top, but his arms and legs were frozen in the ice. Yeah. So they had to cut him. They cut a circle around
in front of all the kids.
Oh, I thought it was funny. Then Oscar arrives at home and his mother is arguing with his father on the phone. Apparently the school is called. And she tells Oscar, the school called, just like I said, and you better talk to your father. He gets on the phone and they just make casual conversation. Yes. He was like, Aaron, Mom doesn't seem happy. Seems a little annoyed. And we cut to Oscar lifting weights, kids swimming, and Ellie watches from a window outside.
One of the bullies kind of says, oh, look, Oscar, you did go swimming. It's part of his weight training program to get stronger. One of the kids is sort of nice to him. But
still a dick.
Yeah.
Then we see Ellie and Oscar, and he tells her how he hit the boy so hard that he had to go to the emergency room. And she says, "Bravo." Then they go to like some, I don't know where they go, someplace
Under some room under a bridge or
bridge or
something that
something.
the older kids go to. So there's
Hang out.
chairs and
Yeah.
music and
a cassette player. So Ellie presses play on the cassette player and she asks Oscar what he wants to do. And he pulls a knife from his jacket and cuts his hand.
they're going to do the
He wants to be blood sibling.
siblings. Yeah, because we don't know if she's a boy. Yeah, so she's a boy or a girl or whatever. So, and it's bleeding pretty well.
He gives her the knife, puts his hand out, and she's like, blood's dripping from his hand, and she drops to the ground and begins licking up his blood. And she tells him to run away, and she kind of turns a little.
Yeah, she looks different.
But then she runs away and climbs up a tree, Karen. Then we see the men trying to convince the crazy cat man.
They're talking about
what he saw.
Yeah, they're talking more about it, about the death of their friend.
And one of them's name is Lackey, and Virginia is his girlfriend. That's the two who were in bed together earlier. They have an argument, and Virginia leaves. He follows.
Because Virginia doesn't want to talk about it anymore. And he says, "You're just cold." And then the cat man goes, "Oh, smooth."
Yeah.
Like that was a stupid thing to say. And she leaves in a huff and he goes after her. And he's always carrying a briefcase, which I don't really know why. Unless it's the stamp that he's carrying, or it's weird. But
yeah,
anyway.
I don't know. So then Virginia leaves him and Ellie drops on top of her. She goes up a flight of stairs or something. I don't know. But then Lackey runs up and kicks her off of her. The other
kicks
men
Ellie
arrive,
off his girlfriend, Virginia.
and Ellie runs away. So then we cut to Virginia sleeping, and the sunlight burns her finger, Karen.
And she looks like she's transforming. Yeah.
So then we see Oscar with his dad. They're like playing some game or something.
Well, Virginia opens up the shades and then drops it right back down. Like, no. She looks at the dressing on her neck. She does see its bite marks. She sees 2 marks. And I said, this woman ended up having a much bigger part than I thought she would when she was in the background before. And then he goes to his dad's house.
And they're playing a game or something. It looks like they're almost playing squares or something.
Or tic-tac-toe or something.
I don't know. But then all of a sudden the man arrives. And I wrote, awkward.
I know.
Is dad gay?
I don't know. I couldn't figure it out.
He is.
Because he gets alcohol and they start drinking, but it almost looked like the guy was eyeballing Oscar in a creepy way. And I was like, where is this going? This is bizarre. And, dad's getting alcohol, like he's going to let the guy go off with Oscar. And then I think maybe I think that they're gay.
I do too. I wrote, they do shots and smoke Marlboros. And Oscar looks at the note Ellie left him. And here's where they tell us what it says. I must be gone and live or stay and die. Yours, Ellie. Then we see someone hitchhiking. And at first I thought it was Oscar. I think he got the hell out of his dad's house. But then I'm like, oh, no, it's Virginia, I guess. Because I think she kills person who picks her up as a hitchhiker. And then she goes to the snow and tries to wash her hands, clean her hands.
See, I think mine skipped at this point because I thought it was Oscar. And then the next thing I have is she's in the
apartment
hospital. Yeah.
No.
She's where the cats are. And the cats start going after her.
Yes.
Yeah, I missed part of it. So what happened?
It's not much. There's not much there. Hitchhiking, car stops. Next thing we see is she's
wiping blood off.
Runs into the snow and is wiping her hands off in the snow.
Okay.
So she goes to the apartment of the crazy cat man. Lackey is there, and the cats are not happy, Karen.
No.
Cats attack Virginia, and she runs out with cats all over her.
Yes.
It's kind of funny. So then we see her at the hospital. Looks like they're putting her in the psycho ward, Karen. Then we see Oscar at home. He bangs on Ellie's door. in Morse code, and she lets him in. And I wrote, it must smell bad
Yeah, he looks like it
because
does.
he looks like it smells bad. And this is Oscar asks if she is a vampire. She says she lives off blood. He asks if she is dead. And she says no. He asks if she is old. And she says she is 12, but has been 12 for a long time. Then Oscar asks if she is poor. Are you poor or something? Because the apartment's not a lot in it. Not a lot of furnishings in it. But apparently she's not, Karen. Like she has
She's got
valuables
treasure.
and money.
Yeah.
She just doesn't have a need for things, I guess. And she offers him money, but he refuses. He thinks it is from the people he killed or she killed, and he leaves. Then we cut to Lackey.
He does look at her. He says, I want to go home now. He says that like twice, like almost like it's very tense. Like, yeah. Is she going to let him go, or is she going to, bite him?
If you'll let me.
Yeah. So there's tenseness there, but she does let him go.
Then we see Lackey visiting Virginia. I wrote she must be in the loony ward because she's tied to the bed. Virginia tells Lackey that the kid must have infected her somehow. She does not want to live. And we cut to Oscar and his mom.
Well, he's talking about some stamp he has that's worth $80,000. And now that, he's going to buy that little house, they're going to live happily together.
He's had this stamp forever. Whatever. He could have bought this house.
I know, but now that she's freaking out, he's finally going to do it.
Yeah. So then we cut to Oscar and his mom brushing their teeth.
Yeah. They're kind of mimicking each other and laughing. I don't think either parent doesn't want him.
I don't either. Then we're back at the hospital. Nurse comes in and tells Virginia she may be able to go home that day, and he's going to take a blood sample, and she asks him to open the blinds. He does, and she spontaneously combusts.
Man, Karen. It's amazing.
It goes up in it's pretty good. There's not a lot of effects in this, but what is in there is good. I'm realizing.
The sound is good too. Like when you hear what's going, you don't always see it, but you can hear it. But this is just a fire on the bed that goes all the way up to the ceiling. But it's literally just her.
Yep.
It's a body burning.
So then Ellie comes to see Oscar. She tells him he must invite her in. She comes to the door, and he wants to know what happens if she walks in anyway. And he kind of teases her. He taunts her.
He's a dick, I thought, a bit.
Well, she was kind of like a little, with him earlier when like she wouldn't get out of his way. So now he's turning the tides on her a little bit here. He's turning the tables. It's like,
I thought he was being mean.
What if you came in without me asking? What's going to happen? Huh?
But then he clicks at her.
Click. Is there a force field here? This door you can't walk through? You messes with her. It's fair. But she is hurt by it. You can tell. And she walks in anyway. And she begins to bleed from everywhere. And Oscar yells, "No, you can come in." And he hugs her. He had to know. Then Oscar asks who she is. She says she is like him. And she recounts the first time she saw him attacking the tree like it was his bullies. He says he doesn't kill people. And she says, you would if you could. And she does it because she has to, but he wants revenge. And she tells him, be me for a little while. He's basically telling him to be a killer.
Tell him to go kill people, right?
Yeah. Does she even say, please be me for a little while?
Yeah, it was weird. I didn't quite know what that meant.
I think that means she's grooming him to be the next man who takes care of her.
Renfield-like person.
Yeah. So then we see Oscar playing a 45 record, Karen. 2008. They're playing 45 vinyl records in 2008 in Sweden, I guess. I don't know.
Vintage.
And the TV looks old too, so I'm not sure this takes place in 2008.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they're dressed kind of 60s, 70-ish as well. So he offers Ellie one of his mom's dresses to borrow. She goes in and puts it on, but of course he peeps on her, Karen.
Yes, he does.
Boys will be boys. Mom arrives and rings the doorbell. Apparently, she don't have a key, Karen.
I think he locked the door. I think he locked her out.
Okay. And then Ellie leaves out the window. Then we see Lackey again at the spot where his friend died, that bridge place. Oscar wakes up and smells something. I guess he's in Ellie's apartment.
Yeah, he went and checked on his mom to see if his mom was sleeping. It's like 2 a.m. and he went over to Ellie's.
Okay. He finds a note, says, I am in the bathroom. Please don't go in. Want to hang out tonight. I really like you. Yours, Ellie. So then Lackey walks by the apartment and he smells something, apparently, Karen. Acts like he smells something. And he enters Ellie's apartment.
How he knows exactly which apartment to go in, I don't know.
So he's looking around, and then we see Oscar hiding under the table. I'm like, oh, Oscar's there. Then Lackey grabs a knife from the kitchen and picks the lock to the bathroom. Lackey finds Ellie asleep in the bathtub, takes the knife and prepares to stab her. Oscar pulls his knife. Lackey pulls the covering from the window, letting light in. Oscar yells no, and Ellie attacks Lackey. He gone. It wakes her up.
The light wakes her up, and then she goes after him.
No, I think him saying no wakes her up.
Well, both, but...
So then Ellie comes out and hugs Oscar and thanks him. Ellie tells Oscar she has to go away, and she gives him a bloody kiss.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to mind that it's a bloody kiss. His
like
first kiss is with a vampire with a dead guy right next to them. That's memorable.
I kept wondering, like, if, I don't know, the blood and he gets her blood and him and things like that. If that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, would he change?
All right. So whatever.
Doesn't seem like it, though.
And then we see Oscar back at his apartment, and his mom apparently has given him the what for. I don't know. He goes to his room and locks the door.
I think when she woke up, he wasn't there.
Next day, phone rings. Martin is calling Oscar, says the teacher is wondering if he is coming tonight.
To his strength training thing.
Yeah. And he commends him for hitting the bully.
Saying the kid deserved it.
But we cut to Martin, and he's with the other bullies. So they're setting Oscar up.
They are.
So then we see the teacher having Oscar doing aerobics in the pool. And the bullies are lighting a fire outside.
That's what it looked like.
I didn't know if they were going to burn the pool house down or what the hell was going on, but they light a fire. Martin tells the teacher and he leaves. He runs out, leaving Oscar there in the pool. Then big brother Jimmy arrives, who's the big brother to the kid that Oscar hit in the ear or the side of the head earlier. And he has a stiletto, Karen, much like your heels. He threatens Oscar. He tells him he must stay underwater for 3 minutes or he will stab him in the eye.
Poke his eye out. So we used to say that when we were kids. If you don't stop looking at me, I'm going to poke your eyes out. It's like, that's pretty brutal.
I never said that to anybody.
Well, because you didn't have a sibling that was looking at you wrong.
So Jimmy grabs Oscar's hair, tells him to take a deep breath, and holds him underwater. The other boys, after a little while, try to get Jimmy to stop, but he tells them to shut up.
We're watching the clock go around.
He just holds Oscar down. And then we have a scene from inside the pool. And we see one of the boys' feet. It's Martin's. Martin's feet's dragged through the pool.
Yeah.
Like Jaws in reverse.
That was pretty funny. It was, yeah.
It's like Jaws is above the water.
Yeah.
Instead of in the water.
And it's really fast.
It is. And then his head sinks into the pool.
Because I went, oh, there's feet. Oh, there's a head.
And Jimmy's arm is still there. So I'm like, Jimmy didn't see that shit? He's still holding Oscar under? Oh, and then Jimmy's arm sinks into the pool. And then another arm comes in and pulls Oscar out, and it's Ellie. Oscar smiles.
Doesn't even take a deep breath when he comes up.
Boys are dead except for the one boy sitting on the side who really didn't want anything to do with it. So then we cut back to snow, very similar to the opening scene, Karen.
Ends as it began.
And then we see Oscar on a train, and he taps on a box in Morse code. Credits, the end.
But they're only 12. Where are they going? Where are they going to live?
I don't know. And apparently the word he taps out is kiss, and she types it back, according to Wikipedia.
So before we finish, I looked up because Sweden isn't a place where I think that people would think vampire, right? You usually think Eastern Europe, but I did look it up just to see. And there is one murder that came up a lot. The Atlas vampire was an unknown assailant who committed the unsolved vampire murder in Stockholm, Sweden in 1932. It was a 31-year-old prostitute. Lily Lindstrom was found murdered in her small apartment in the Atlas area of Stockholm. She had been dead for 2 or 3 days. They broke into her apartment. She suffered blunt force trauma to her head, but the detectives noted that a gravy ladle was found at the scene, and on further inspection of the body, they realized her body had been drained of all her blood. Police suspected the implement, meaning the ladle, was used by the perpetrator to drink Lily's blood. It's unsolved. They never solved it. Just didn't seem like but that's where you want to be if you're a vampire, somewhere where they wouldn't suspect vampires.
Okay. What'd you think of the loneliness cocktail, Karen?
Surprisingly, I liked it. I like me a good loneliness cocktail.
A little too much lemon for me.
Yeah, I liked it. That's what makes it refreshing.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that much.
I didn't realize vanilla and lemon would go together so well. But I think you're right. Or I think if you added a little Sprite, it would be good.
It would be good.
It would be better. I think it is good. Never heard of it before.
Loneliness. Gonna go home and drown myself in some loneliness tonight.
Yes.
Mine is almost evaporated. Not quite. Will be shortly.
That you didn't really like it then. Wasn't that much of a drink to begin with.
That's pretty good. It's even better now that it's melted down the ice. Although I still have ice. So
You can nurse it for a little bit longer. There's a little more and a little more.
all right. Anything we learned today, Karen?
We learned a little about Morse code. We learned about the Rubik's Cube, the Atlas vampire in Sweden, and how to rupture your eardrum.
I got a Batman reference there if you were paying attention.
And you got a foreigner who
Got a
sings
foreigner
cold.
in there? Yep.
Yeah.
And talked about my Kiss scrapbook a little bit.
Yeah. And Sean Cassidy, too.
Oh, yeah.
Sean Cassidy made an appearance. Yeah, I mean, what more do you want in a podcast?
Maybe that should be our next podcast, Karen, the Sean Cassidy podcast. We can talk about all things Sean Cassidy.
I'm sure there are other Sean Cassidy podcasts with people who know a lot more about Sean Cassidy.
If you say so. All right. Are we ready to move on to next film, Karen?
Oh, yes, let's. What have you chosen?
Oh, is it my turn?
Already it is.
Wow. What have I chosen? Film I have chosen is from 1962, Karen. It's called The Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, a remake.
Yes.
Why did you choose that?
Because The Phantom of the Opera in 1962 came out on June 25th, and our next episode is June 26th. Oddly enough, The Omen came out June 25th as well. But we've already done that. We can't do it again. Although I would.
You could just replay it. I'm sure it's still completely relevant.
No, I'm sure it is. We're going to have to do the first Omen, Karen. We're going to have to do that once it's not $20 to watch.
It's a little steep for me.
Yeah.
Do you have a drink to go with your movie?
Oh, I do, Karen.
Excellent.
Thanks
What is
for
it?
asking. It's called the Phantom Potion.
Oh, nice.
Would you like to know how to make it?
I would.
We're going to need 8 ounces of lemon lime Kool-Aid, 2 ounces of triple sec or Cointreau. That's what I'm going to use if I have enough. 2 ounces of vodka and a lemon slice for garnish. Combine all the ingredients with ice, shake well, strain into a glass with ice, and garnish with a lemon slice.
Interesting. You'd think it'd be a color. It's a potion.
Lemon lime Kool-Aid.
Oh, that's true. That's
Phantom
probably
potion.
green, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I found this on the Newfoundland Symphony Orchestra YouTube channel.
Wow.
Yeah, apparently there's a restaurant outside the Newfoundland
Newfoundland.
Symphony
Yes.
Orchestra that has food and drinks themed to what's playing at the
Oh,
symphony or
that's
whatever.
cool.
And they have one called the Phantom Potion.
That's a neat idea.
I thought so. That's why I picked it. All right. Anyone you need to thank this week, Karen?
Well, Greg, I think we should thank our listener because there are many, many, many podcasts out there. Thank you for spending time with us. Greg, who do you need to thank?
Karen, I'm going to thank Kenneth Brady for subscribing to our YouTube channel.
Woohoo! Thank you.
And also the band Verse 13 for providing all of the music in the Scary Spirits podcast.
Music definitely makes the podcast better.
Anything else, Karen?
Please drink responsibly.
Yes.
Hey, it's Karen, and I'm here to talk to you about getting social with us. Did you know you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast? Or check out our website, scaryspirits.com. If you have something to say, email us at info@scaryspirits.com. And as always, thanks so much for listening. Please drink responsibly.